I feel like that meme where it's like, I receive all of your book recommendations. You receive a very unique booktube experience. We have a guest for today's video. This is a spider that I trapped against my wall a few nights ago, but I can't do anything with him, like let him outside because it's been raining nonstop. And I might be a cruel jailer, but I am not a fucking monster. So we're gonna have just a special guest back there this whole time. I feel like you're probably expecting a normal booktube experience right now where you get to watch somebody who's so well-read and so eloquent describe their tastes and answer these questions and have varying and different answers to each of these questions. But I am not a normal girl. I'm not somebody that reads a lot. Well, that's, hold on. I read now, but I didn't before, which is what brings me to this video that I'm about to record and post right here. But it also brings me to a very important fact that I need you all to know about me. Everyone watching this video, you are more well-read than me. And I mean that across any genre. I mean that on any grade level. I am an ADHD-ridden bimbo who recently got on meds only a handful of months ago and has only recently begun to be able to read books. Someone the other day was like, well, what about the books you read in school? And I was like, what books that I read in school? Because boy, I didn't read Harry Potter as a child. Well, I tried. I didn't get very far. I didn't read Goosebumps or Animorphs or The Babysitter's Club or any of those fun things that kids like to read or liked to. I don't know if those are still popular with the kids and the teens. So to answer the first question on the Booktube tag, why did I start this channel? Well, I've been watching a lot of Booktube videos ever since I've decided to pick up some books and start reading now that I can focus on them. And I think it's very fun. And I'm like, oh wait, I want to sit down and talk about the books that I read. And I want to watch people talk about the books that they read. And I, more than anything, am here for book recommendations. I want them so badly. So that's kind of the purpose that I'm starting this for, is to help me in the journey that I'm about to go on, which is books. This little bimbo is reading books. I am the little book bimbo now. And this actually kind of leads into the second question on this little booktube tag thing. Sorry, I'm just gonna start moving around. What are some fun and unique things that you can bring to booktube? I'm not a person who's ever read before. We'll look at this maybe in this video or the next video. I don't have a lot going on here. If you see multiple copies of the Twilight Saga, mind your goddamn business. I'm not somebody that reads a lot. I don't have a beautiful bookcase. I love everybody's beautiful bookcases. Trust me, I want one. I don't have the knowledge of hundreds of novels under my belt. I would like that. I'm already almost at my Goodreads 2023 goal, which is crazy because I've always set that a little too high and I've never met it. So I mean, hey, a booktuber, I'm not actually becoming a booktuber, but a booktube participant who hasn't read a lot, here I am. What's funny is that question 3 for this is, what are you most excited for about this new channel? This channel's not new. If you are clicking on this thinking, oh, a new booktuber, I am someone who is going to be participating in booktube videos because I think that's fun and I think I'll have a lot of fun doing that. But you can go back years and see me vlogging while blackout drunk or telling story times with not much skill to telling the story. You'll see a lot of stuff if you click through here. You don't have to watch any of that stuff. If you want to watch my last video, that gives you more of an update with where I'm at in life and what I'm doing now. I am at my big age of 30, not only freshly diagnosed with ADHD, but I am on medication now and I am back at school. So yeah, I'm back in school and I am, ironically enough, going to get an English degree. Listen, just because I haven't read traditionally published novels doesn't mean I haven't still read constantly over the years. I'm just a fan fiction girly. I'm always into my fandoms and my fanfics. So it's not that I'm not well read at all, just not in the traditional sense. So my bookshelf will be awfully dry, but my AO3 history, actually don't look at my AO3 history. It's been, I be reading. Just very specific stuff. Number 4, why do you love reading? What's funny is that I actually enjoy writing more than I enjoy reading. Writing and fan fiction has been almost exclusively what I've written for the past 15 years. More than that. Oh my God, I have been writing fan fiction for more than half of my life. That's fucking crazy. Damn. Well, I, as somebody who very much enjoys creating, is somebody who also very much enjoys reading. I've been very, very well read in the fan fiction world. My standards are apparently too high because I have read some stuff since I've begun reading again, where I'm like, great, this is a hardback novel that they probably sell in Barnes & Noble. Surely that means it's good. No, that's not what that means at all. So I'm learning a lot of new things. I love to read because it does help me improve my writing. And I know that if I'm going to go into this line of work and I want to take it seriously and be taken seriously in return, I need to kind of start reaching out and like putting some classics in my brain and seeing what genres really vibe with me and trying to figure out what a traditionally not published novel looks like. It's not something that I've ever really been able to focus on. So I'm just trying to get more in my brain, again, in the traditionally published sense. You're going to hear me say that constantly because whenever I talk about being well-read, it will be referring to fan fiction. And if you're coming for fan fiction's neck, I understand the pros and cons of only reading fan fiction. I get it. You don't need to like lecture at me or anything. But trust me, I have read some crazy, fantastic stuff before. My standards are very high, even though I have really only read fan fiction. So you don't need to, you can treat me as someone who hasn't read a lot of shit, because I haven't. But if you start treating me like somebody that doesn't know what good writing is, I know that's kind of subjective, I will bite you. I'm biting you. What book or series got you into reading? Again, this isn't a question I can really answer for younger me because younger me didn't really read. I did at one point consume the Twilight Saga with fervor. Same thing with the Hunger Games back in the day. So I feel like I probably averaged from age, 5 when you start reading to age like 15, 16 when I found Twilight. I probably averaged maybe one book a year, and most, if not half of the time, those books were consumed because my mom would have bought me one and would be like, you have to read this book or you can't do ABC. Trust me, they were trying to, but I couldn't focus on jack shit. Except for my little obsessions and fixations and stuff. My AC just turned on, don't mind that. Or do, I don't care. The book/series that got me back into reading was I picked up, let me grab it. I bought this bitch because I was like, I'm gonna read this and surprise my friends and tell them that not only have I read a book, but it's the book that they've been trying to get me to read for years now. And boy, oh boy, is it like starting with a plate of caviar and then afterward being like, God, I'm so hungry, that was so good. Let's go to the gas station. Because this shit just set my bar so high. I read the Locked Tomb series by Tamsin Muir, which includes Gideon the Ninth, Hera the Ninth, and Nona the Ninth. I read those all in the span of like just a few days back in October. So after that, it like flicked something. It flicked a switch in my brain that made me want to read more and more and more, which I'm very grateful for. I'm glad that gave me a little bit of a like push off of the platform there, but also nothing has compared ever since. I've read some really good stuff and I've read some really bad stuff ever since, in my opinion. Forgive those that you'll be hearing plenty of, but oh my God, Tamsin Muir, you are a genius, diabolical bitch, and I'm obsessed with your brain. But you'll be hearing about me talk about the Locked Tomb plenty at some point. I'm gonna just shut up now. If you want to hear other people talk about the Locked Tomb, go listen to other people talk about the Locked Tomb. I'm not gonna do it as eloquently as them, and it's also really hard to describe what it's about, so I'm not gonna try. Next question. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? I only follow a few booktubers, and I enjoy them, and I think they're so fun. And I've only asked maybe one of them, but my question is just like, what would you recommend? And this actually is a question that I'll pass along to all of you people out there watching as well, even if you're not into BookTube. What book would you read for someone who says, I don't know what genres I prefer, I don't know my reading style, I don't know what my tastes or preferences are going to be, what would you recommend me read? So that is a question that I would ask some booktubers. I would ask some normal, regular people. I've been asking plenty of people in my real life, acquaintances, friends, family, and I've been collecting a very strange array of books that I have placed on my Goodreads to read list. Since then, I've read a few of those recommendations. Anyways, I'm still learning. So if you have a book out there that you're like, oh, I love this book, maybe she'll like it too, send it to me. I can't promise I'll like it, and I can't promise if I dislike it that I'll shut up about it. So do so at your own risk. If you recommend me a book and it would hurt your feelings if I hated it and then hated it publicly, don't. Because boy, oh boy, I like to share some opinions. Next question. 7. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Boy, the reading part is, I'm pretty sure, going to be the trickiest part for me. Just because I'm nervous that my steam will like give out at some point, which I don't think will happen because I'm on meds and I'm medicated now. And I have friends that also read who, now that I've joined them, they're very enthusiastic and encouraging about me continuing my reading journey. So I feel like starting putting booktube videos out there, the hardest part is going to be just remembering, oh, there goes Discord. It'll just be remembering to read for fun and not just to maybe read for video. I see people read for videos though, which I do find funny, and anybody who has read ACOTAR to review it, thank you, because I'm never fucking touching that. And listen, if you were about to recommend me ACOTAR just because I said, no, I liked Twilight, please think again. I might like some bad stuff, but I do, as an adult, have taste. So I wonder who I've offended so far. I'm sorry. Listen, not every book is going to be for me. And what I've heard, that book is not going to be for me. So, or the series, or maybe even the author. Oh, fun little side story. I once searched my own fan fiction pen name on Twitter, and I found someone who was comparing me to Sarah J. Maas favorably. They were saying, oh my God, Sarah J. Maas, you could never write like what my pen name is. And I shared that with my friends. I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. Isn't that the one who's like super famous with all those like fairy books? And my friends were so offended on my behalf. I learned a lot that day, and booktube videos that I've been watching about that darling author, I've learned a lot more. But hey, listen, it could be other people's tastes. It's not mine. I'm not one that likes to read for junk food unless it has a nostalgia factor. Here with Twilight, I'm here to have a good time. Sorry if you feel attacked right now. 8. When did you start reading? About 6 months ago. Although I have read before, like I said earlier, I was averaging 1 book a year. In 2020, just like everybody else, I did read, I think, like 10 books. I'm gonna link my Goodreads actually in the description box so you guys can go and add me, because I'm pretty sure you should be able to see what books I've read on that. I don't know what you can really see. I know you can see all sorts of stuff on there, like the TBRs and the DNFs and the DNRs and the DDRs. I don't know. There's a lot of terms that I've learned in the past couple months. So click the link if you want to see specific stuff. But when did I start reading and taking it seriously? 6 months ago. I learned to read at age like 4 or 5, but like, I was like, great, skill acquired, next. 9, where do you read? I usually read in my bed, or if I'm like reading fan fiction, I'll read that anywhere. But when it comes to books, I'll read it either in my bed, or since I am a nanny for a little boy, he takes naps every day. If I'm not editing podcast episodes, I do sit and read. So really one of 2 places for the most part when it comes to a physical book. And 10, the last question on this is, what kind of books do you like to read? Hey, I've read Twilight back as a teen, so I was like, great, maybe I'll like romance. And I've read a couple romances since, and I don't know, maybe it's not romance. I've read The Hunger Games, so I was like, great, maybe some dystopian stuff. And I don't know, I've read like a couple dystopian-esque things, and like, listen, I don't know. Maybe I just haven't found the right thing. And then I was like, well, maybe it's just fantasy. So I did read, of course, The Locked Tomb, loved it. Maybe I am a fantasy bitch. The thing is, my darling people, I don't know. Maybe it's fantasy, maybe it's romance. What do I like to read? I like stuff that has crazy plots. I like stories that don't have cardboard cutout characters or caricatures that are characters. If you have great character work and if you have a crazy plot, sign me up for that. And I feel like I shouldn't even be mentioning Twilight when I'm talking about this. I may have a Twilight podcast with my best friend, and I may have 80% of my books on my shelf. I feel like I need to block it now. It might be Twilight, but I know it's bad. You don't need to be like, oh, let me recommend her things that are like Twilight. Please, for the love of God, do not do that. I couldn't give two shits about Edward Cullen's dumbass. Please, I'm so sick of him. We're getting near the end of the first season of the podcast, and I'm so tired of him. But listen, I am someone who's going to be posting booktube videos. I'm not a strict booktuber. You might see a vlog here and there. So if you're like, oh, let me follow this bimbo bitch because she does books now. I do, but you're also going to see a lot of crazy stuff. You might see me half naked and drunk somewhere in Vegas at some point in the future on a video on here. And if you don't want to see that, you better protect your delicate sensibilities. And also, I do notice that a lot of booktubers don't swear a lot. They're very eloquent. They're very digestible, just as a whole. So if you are someone that watches these loudly around people that you don't want to hear you listening to videos of people saying fuck words, then maybe I'm not for you. I don't know. How do people do this? Doesn't matter. All I gotta say is that I'm here and I'm ready to read. So, yeah, if you made it this far, that's crazy. You had some time to spare today, huh? You can subscribe, but I don't, it's all up to you. I don't really know what to say. I don't have an outro, but I guess I'll see you guys sometime later. Okay, bye.